It's in yet another report, I think, into the failings across the criminal justice system in relation to the Jimmy Savile case. And not just the Jimmy Savile case, but I think looking more widely at other prolific sex offenders. And in this particular case, looking at failings in relation particularly to the police. And there are a number of issues that have emerged, particularly for victims of crime, that we're most interested in. I think not least because many victims are just not getting their voice heard and not being believed in the first case. And if victims don't feel that they're going to be believed when they come forward with their testimonies, it's really important that they have confidence that the criminal justice system will believe them and respond to them when they come forward with their case. One of the points is that police forces are still, even after all these years, operating in silos. They're not exchanging information, particularly in relation to prolific sex offenders. And in the case of Savile, he travelled around the country, not just this country, but England, Wales and Scotland extensively, and yet those police forces were not sharing information in relation to the victims of crime or the cases that were being brought forward. And as a result of that, they weren't able to put together the pieces of the puzzle that would much earlier have showed that Savile was the highly prolific sex offender that he was. Now, procedures are in place to share information, but what's clear is that police forces still aren't doing that, and that needs to be addressed urgently. Well, there is a huge amount of support available for victims of crime when they come forward, but they will only come forward if they have confidence that the police will listen to them and believe what they're saying. And I think what's clear again from the HMIC report is that victims were coming forward, but their cases were just not being listened to. And I think there's also a very important point there about Savile being a personality, a media presence, and almost because of that he had some sort of protected status. And that just cannot happen moving forward. The most important thing here is that victims have confidence, and when they come forward, they're believed. And I think the very fact that since the Savile inquiry, hundreds and hundreds of victims of crime, not just in relation to Savile, but other sex offenders, have felt more confident to come forward, is a really good step forward. But we need to honour that trust now and make sure that they get the services and the help that they need. So there is a lot of help out there, but that help will only be of value if it's based upon a criminal justice system that listens to and respects the voices of victims. And for me, what this report is telling us is that victims are still not at the centre of the criminal justice system where they need to be. The offence will still feel very real for them, but it's obviously some time ago. And many adults, for quite understandable reasons, push down and try to hide some of the horrific experiences they've endured, and so it can be very painful when those experiences come up. And I think some of Savile's victims who have disclosed offences many years later, it's been incredibly painful for them to have to relive some of that. And if people want to get in touch with us, they can call our support line, which is 0845 30 30 900, or visit our website, which is victimsupport.org.uk.